This is Service Headline News. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Monsieur Histoire, Eric
History's in the
Perrott,
house, in the house.
and our closet man, Jake Wall.
Loving the flannel.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all servicemen and women. So take your seats and get informed and have a laugh as the Swearing In Podcast presents Service Headline News. I didn't know if I was going to try that French thing, but I panicked at the last second.
You went full in on it.
I went all the way in on it, right?
Yeah. According to my Duolingo, I'm on a 15-day streak right now.
I like
Sounded
the whole
perfect.
Abla.
Yep.
Abla? No abla.
Abra.
Abra.
All right. Eric, you had a little jaunt up into our neighbors to the north, Wyoming.
I did. Yeah, I went into Jackson, had a great trip, floated the river, did a little fishing, seen a bear on the shoreline. Badass. Because you don't ever see them. Yeah.
You were seen as bear or you saw a bear?
We, in the raft, floating down the river, saw a bear.
To find out the official response, go to Eric's OnlyFans account.
Updated this week.
They do call him Papa Bear. Papa
New Bear Adventures.
So check this out. Now we're floating down the river. My host, her name is Kelly. She loses her cell phone.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, we thought it was on the shore. We had some food and we stopped off the river to eat, sort of like a picnic. We were just eating. Get back in the boat. We raft down a little bit. And she goes, I don't have my phone. So we pull off again. Now, you know, the river's running pretty good. It's not like you're going to slow down. So we're probably a mile away. So three of us, Snake River.
Oh, Snake River.
Snake River.
That evil.
So we get off the raft. We start munching through frickin' some deep, deep timber shit. It's all falling down. We go all the way back. No fucking phone. We get all the way back to the raft. We get back on the river. The thing is gone. And next thing you know, now we're seeing a bear after we just tromped all over the place. So we're all like, oh, holy shit. We're not so sure that was a good idea or not. Bottom line is we lost the phone, but we had a hell of a good time, man. Hell of a good time.
Yeah.
In addition to that, tell us about the museum that you stopped at.
Yeah. So in the middle of Du Bois, Wyoming, they have a museum. It is called the Military, hold on, it's rising. It's the National Museum of Military Vehicles, but incorporates so much more, man. They've got a weapons vault. The weapons range from the Civil War all the way to modern times.
I'm looking at the website. Are those real vehicles or are they like mock-ups?
No, these are real vehicles. Now, a lot of them have been refurbished.
Yeah.
But they're all real.
But it's not plastic and styrofoam. It's metal.
Negative. Right? Correct.
Wow.
Full-size Higgins boat. It was an amazing place. It literally took us 4 hours to check this place out. So much more than what I thought it was going to be. In fact, I even asked, why is it in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
And one of the guys goes, the guy with all the money, because it's a personal collection, moved to Wyoming from the East Coast. And people started hearing that he had all these tanks and, you know, tracks and APCs and all kinds of stuff. And they're like, can we see him? And finally, he just fronted the money for this museum. Amazing place. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it.
That's crazy.
Much better collection than Dragon Man has.
Oh, makes Dragon Man look silly.
Here's what's crazy, though. It's a guy from the East Coast that got tired of all the random stuff in there and moved
out to the west. Out to Wyoming.
He would be able to make so much more money. For the vets who are retirees, active duty, it's no cost. Those coming in as guests are $20 to see the place.
Well, for those listening, I'll put this link in the description of the show. National Museum of Military Vehicles. Pretty cool.
Yeah. They even had this one area for Vietnam where he's got bamboo alleyways and it looks like you're walking in the dark.
Oh, wow.
And then you walk up to a screen and you push a button and it highlights, you know, a punji ditch. with the punji
Oh,
sticking
man.
up.
Yeah.
And it describes it. And then he talks about triplars and a bouncing Betty and the sling loaded tree that spikes that come off and hit you.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
That's
got all these
straight out of
things.
Green Beret by
That's
John.
Oh, yeah,
John
man.
John J. Rambo made that. Out in the
Badass.
Oh yeah, he did
out
do
in the
that too.
forest of was he up in Oregon for the first one?
He was.
First one,
Oregon.
Was it
Washington,
Oregon or
Washington.
Washington?
Yeah. I think he was headed to Washington. It was Oregon.
Yep.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Get out of here, hippie.
Fucking Oregon.
Amazing place, though. Highly recommend it.
That place.
Well, speaking of history,
Don't go there if
history?
you're a Californian.
History tonight, I've got a very short one. It's very short. However, it's for my main host, Marty.
Oh,
So I'm going to throw out a
Oh,
name
man.
for you.
I'm the main host.
I'm going to see if
Everybody knows that, Marty.
I'm going to throw out a name for you, Marty, and I want you to tell me if you hear it or you've heard it.
All right.
Little Willie. Little Willie.
I don't know who.
Thankfully, I have never heard of that.
Well, gentlemen, here it comes.
Got a very
So-
good friend named Willie, and I've
Right.
never been introduced to Little Willie.
Well, no. Luckily,
Well, you're going to get an introduction.
All right.
So, Little Willie was the first working tank in the world. It provided that a vehicle encompassing armored protection, an internal combustion engine, and tracks was a possibility for the battlefield. September 6, 1915, the First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill, created a land ships committee to tackle the problems of trench warfare. After many experiments and false starts, an agricultural firm called William Foster and Company of Lincoln was contracted to build a prototype machine. Its designers, William Tritton and Walter Wilson, came up with a set of workable tracks which were fitted to the land ship now known as Little Willie. Said to be an irreverent nickname for the German Crown Prince, Kaiser Wilhelm. By the time Little Willie was built, Wilson and Trenton had already come up with an improved idea of a machine with tracks running all the way around the vehicle and which would be able to cross trenches. This would become the classic British tank design of the Great War. Thus, Little Willie was redundant almost as soon as it was built. But the first tank to roll out September 6, 1915 was Little Willie. I'm going to give you a couple of facts on it. Country of use was Britain. I love this. The number produced was 1.
Oh.
Had 5 crew members. It weighed 16 tons.
Oh man,
Way too heavy, right? Had a speed of 3.5 miles per hour. You could walk faster. Had an armor of 10 millimeter. Full name was Little Willie. Produced by Britain. And the era was World War I. So I'm going to put the link in our chat to this thing. And take a look at the video when you get a chance.
Okay.
Because it actually shows Little Willie. Little Willie. And there you have it. I thought you'd get a kick out of that,
Nice.
Mr. Armorer guy. That's your first tank deployment.
Well, if it had been the first U.S. tank, I would have been excited.
Oh, here we go.
But, okay. Good job, Brits. Good job.
Well, I didn't go with the Americans because I wanted it. It's the first armor running around the field. I thought you'd get a kick out of that, my friend.
Oh yeah. Well, it's always good, even though I was artillery, but that's okay. Armor's fun. Armor's good too. British armor's even.
It had nothing to
armor's
do
even
with
better.
Marty. That's what's funny.
Okay. It was still good because it's the
It was
first
good.
tank.
It was good.
I agree.
First tank.
I agree.
Well, thank you for that. All right, let's get out of the news. Gentlemen,
You're welcome.
Gentlemen, the red horde is coming. It's coming, baby. It's already
Oh.
here. First
Is that
story we got.
WH or is that H?
No.
Okay.
Little
The
horse.
Red
Curious.
The Red Ward. She's.
The Gred Horde.
I think she was a dancer down in New Orleans, actually, when I was down in Fort Polk.
Nice.
It's a
She'll bring the fire.
Cajun Red Horde. But the first story is from Business Insider magazine. All right. Chinese nationals are posing as tourists, have accessed U.S. military bases and other sensitive sites. So, like you said earlier in our pregame show,
What?
Eric, that they've probably been doing this for years. But
Yeah, no
but
news.
think of some of the when as I read through this, I'll read through it and then I'll tell you my skit idea at the end of it, right? So, according to an exclusive report by the Wall Street Journal, Chinese nationals who sometimes posed as tourists accessed U.S. military bases and other sensitive sites around 100 times in recent years. The newspaper cited U.S. officials who described the incidents as potential forms of espionage.
What?
Well, no shit.
The Chinese participate in espionage?
I mean,
No.
they can get confused as drivers and stuff, but maybe that's just their snake in the grass stuff, right?
Where's McDonald's?
Well, that's
McDonald's?
coming up. Last year, the U.S. Department of Defense, FBI, and other agencies held a review to try to curb the frequency of these breaches, which involved unauthorized entries into U.S. military bases and other federal sites. Most of the incidents took place in rural areas, away from tourist hotspots and commercial airports, according to the Wall Street Journal. In one such incident, Chinese nationals were found scuba diving off Cape Canaveral, home to the Kennedy Space Center. It gets even funnier than this one. At another site in Florida, an intelligence center in Key West, there have been repeated incidents of Chinese nationals posing as tourists swimming near the facility and taking pictures. I mean, just set that in your mind, the guy doing a side stroke with the Nikon. Trying to take pictures.
And what worth do you get from taking a picture of the facility on the outside?
Exactly. Keep that in mind, too.
The defenses, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. In at least one instance, an incursion there at Key West has led to arrests, with 3 Chinese citizens receiving prison sentences in 2020 after pleading guilty to illegally entering a naval air station in Key West and taking photos. Other instances include a group of Chinese nationals claiming to be tourists who tried to push past guards at Fort Wainwright, Alaska, saying they had a reservation at a hotel on the base. The base is home to the 11th Airborne Division, which is focused on Arctic warfare. Now, just that statement, push past guards. Eric, you stood gate guard before.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever tried to push past you? It's silly.
So the terminology they used is silly. You're correct. But as you both know, it's not the first time to have protests.
Yeah, you do the crowd control stuff.
Yeah, where guys have tried to circumvent, entry points and go through,
But nobody in that protest was like, "Hey, we got reservations at your hotel that's only for military only."
No, not at all.
Dumb.
No.
There are other attempts at gate crashing that involve Chinese nationals who claimed their Google Maps had directed them to the nearest fast food restaurant, which happened to be on military base.
There you go. Oh, Google.
What are you trying to get to? Anthony's? You dying for Anthony's Pizza? Robin Hood?
BK?
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
There's a BK almost on every single base.
The bottom dweller of all sub shops, Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Why? I tried to get to Robin Hood.
Wouldn't you believe you'd have a better story for a guard if you were caught?
Right.
I had a flat tire. Can I use your phone? My wife's pregnant. She's in the car. You guys were close.
Well, it does say officials noted to the Wall Street Journal that many individuals who have been confronted by security officials have responded with language that appears to be scripted, saying they're merely lost tourists. So they got 1 or 2 scripts they just give out to everybody, I guess. On some occasions, Pentagon spokesman Sue Goff said individuals gained access to a base by speeding through security checkpoints. Now,
nice.
How many? What they sped through? They're like, we couldn't catch them.
But
They're
they've
in now.
said
We
this
don't know
was
that.
years ago, though, right?
I
Like
guess.
over the years. But we got Jersey barriers or those pop-up barriers
You
now.
got at
Bollards.
Almost
least you got
every
at least
single.
serpentine, right?
They're called
Yeah,
bollards, the ones that come out of the ground.
Yeah,
yeah.
the bollards,
Just
yeah.
the posts. Yeah, the I've seen
The
the
wall.
clamshell ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clamshell ones, or the like that. It's not spiked, but it's clamshell slots, basically.
No cars going through it or over it. That's for
Oh,
damn
man.
sure.
So that's I kind of question that one too. Especially if they're just if this article is just describing incidents over the last couple of years, there ain't nobody speeding through a security
No,
checkpoint.
no.
Right?
They're going to get peppered.
I
So,
think you would. You
The
could get
only the only thing I can think of is some Chinese guy wanted to try to start some infiltration group, and he didn't have a whole lot of money or resources. So he's just coming up with these ideas so he can pitch it to big CCP over in China and go, look what I'm doing. Hire me.
Here's how easy it is.
I got people swimming with cameras. I got people trying to get to Abo's Pizza on base. I mean, it's working. It's working, guys. It's working.
So I wonder how that ties in. You guys are both aware how much property and land that Chinese officials have purchased
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
US. It's
Yeah.
got to be tied to that. How far can we extend our presence through the US?
Well, they're trying everything, right?
Land.
Yeah.
Let's get to the
Yeah.
bases.
I mean, the diagonal from Denver to Boulder, that toll lane is owned by the Chinese now.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Colorado sold it to them. They're like, oh yeah, you guys want to build it? It's yours.
Amazing.
And so I was like, are our tolls going to China? But I mean, I think they just try everything. They just got groups that just like, just keep pushing, just keep doing what you're doing. TikTok, Americans love it. Keep farming data on TikTok. Huawei.
Well, we both
right?
know they steal the secrets. We talked about the ejection seat that had
That's
had
right,
the faulty rib way back when. Had the
Oh,
yeah,
faulty
it's not-
charge. Hmm.
Well, what did I hear? I heard an analyst say that the Chinese were really good at imitating, but they're not very good at innovating.
Yeah, good point.
So they take a lot of our technology and they can copy it, and like in a heartbeat. But they don't come up with the ideas themselves. Well, maybe they are now. I mean, they came up with COVID-19 on their own. Well, they did have our help too, though.
Well, I'm sure they did.
So maybe
Okay.
they didn't come up with it on.
I'm gonna send you two articles. Just compare these pictures. Are you familiar with the Chinese space plane?
Oh,
Space plane.
Oh,
really?
strangely, literally, the only difference between the US space plane, who may or may not have came up with it years prior to, and the Chinese space plane is the friggin' flag.
It's the exact flag.
That's it.
What they do? Copy our shuttle? Is that what they did?
No. We have a space plane, right? We have that Boeing X.
Oh, the one that goes like low Earth orbit kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Just enough to go into the atmosphere. Or
Yeah. The Boeing X 37.
Okay.
Right? Look up the Boeing X 37.
Well, I thought
For
you were
anybody-
going to send something.
Oh, fine. I'll send you a picture.
Well, if you were going to send it, I was going to share it. That's why.
I'm just giving you this information. But literally, like,
The X-37.
that's ours. Yeah, that's our
Right.
version.
Pretty cool.
It is cool. All right. Now
Little test vehicle. I mean, it's not as innovative as Little Willie was.
no, that's not innovative at all because that looks like a direct ripoff
Oh, yeah,
of
sure.
Oh,
our
for sure.
X-37.
Right.
For sure.
Like a blatant, like that picture right there.
That's the Boeing.
That you're passed
X-37.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a
Dude,
little more
like-
rounded, but that's it. But that's
That's-
also just a picture of it, right?
Yeah. That if you actually there's other pictures of it where you're like, it looks really familiar.
Yeah.
And with all of our like their requirements for any US company that wants to do business,
Yeah.
like they got it all. Like,
Well, maybe they're getting
by signing over that, we're signing over all rights to.
Yeah.
But either way,
Well, maybe the Key West swimmers are getting pictures of some of our equipment. And then they put all those pictures together and they're like, okay.
Come up with a concept.
Now we know. We have no idea what's on the inside, but now we know what it looks like on the outside.
Well, we get a lot of information just from pattern of life.
Yeah, that's true. That's
right.
True. Go through your garbage, you can figure it out. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
wow, this guy goes through a lot of paper towels.
It's amazing what they do as far as stealing from us stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, every intelligence agency we have has identified them as the most direct threat to our technology.
Oh yeah, because they can replicate.
Yeah.
And then we're so limited with Taiwan with the microconductor.
And then if you think about, taking it one step further to our infrastructure and then being able to take down our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Ooh, crazy.
Watch out for those Chinese spies, man.
Okay.
Let's go on to I don't know how to take this story because it seemed like these guys were going to win some money, but now my question is how it affects a VA. But anyway, from taskandpurpose.com, 3M settled its combat earplug lawsuit for $6 billion.
Had you heard about that forever?
They didn't actually go through it. They just settled. Right. So current and former service members have filed roughly 260,000 lawsuits claiming that the 3M earplugs that many U.S. service members were issued in Iraq and Afghanistan did not provide adequate protection. Some troops who have filed lawsuits over earplugs they say were defective may be in line for around $15,000 each as part of a $6 billion settlement with manufacturing conglomerate 3M.
Damn.
So as part of the settlement, 3M maintains that the plugs.
Huh? What'd you say? I can't hear. What?
You knew it was coming.
You
knew it was coming.
Yeah, but that just may be attributable to age for you. But you might as well put in a lawsuit too, Eric.
Yeah,
well. 3M maintains that the plugs were, quote, safe and effective when used properly. Now, I almost can get that because if you remember, I remember the old triple flange, cheap piece of shit earplugs that they issued us.
Those with the little plastic with the three.
The Christmas tree looking one.
But you had to actually, to do it right, you had to actually grab your ear and pull up on it and put it in there so it would seat correctly. You remember having to do that?
Yeah, because the seal was the actual piece of the tree.
Pull it up, and then shove that down into your brain. It felt like sometimes.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
I didn't keep those long. Then they went to them fucking spongies, and that's all we had.
To the foamies.
Yeah, the foamies.
But let's see. According to settlement, claimants can either receive a lump sum up front or apply for an evaluation of a claim that could lead to an even higher award. The exact amount for the lump sum award has yet to be determined. So if 3M paid this to the government, who's in charge of giving this money out?
The VA.
That's bad news, isn't it? The earplugs were made by Arrow Technologies Incorporated, which 3M acquired in April 2008. The U.S. government bought these particular earplugs between 2003 and 2015. My question is, if they get 15,000, do they still get to make a claim to the VA? Or did they make the claim and they're getting paid for it? But then what? 15,000 is just on top? Is like a nice to have?
The government it's probably going to be, since you took this, you're settled on that 10%.
Your 10% is now knocked off.
Your 10, 20% is now void.
Right.
Because you took this settlement. So now it drops your overall
Your rating.
percentage
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
lose that.
I wonder.
So
We're
wonder if
joking about
that's
it
it.
here.
But we're cynical bastards too.
But
I
VA's
could see
always,
that happening though, man.
Yeah,
VA's not.
exactly.
They're not philanthropic. They're not like, hey, we got to get rid of this money. We got to give it out to needy people. They are an insurance
They're
company.
too busy
going,
losing it.
We got to save every penny because we know we're going to lose $3 billion next year.
You get
So-
that 15,000, you're done.
I
Don't
bet
come to
that. I
us
bet that's
anymore.
what they do. I bet that it's like, let's make a deal. Door number one, $15,000.
Yeah.
Door
Right
number
now.
2, 10%. Which one do you want? Yeah.
And after taxes on the 15, now you get 9.
Yeah.
Or-
Right. So I don't know. I don't know where that's going to come from, but that was the thing that hit me. It's like, well, if they take the money, or if they file a claim, or if I don't know how they get more than 15,000. That was just.
I like how we're so jaded that we're not like, you know what? That's awesome that these guys get that money because they got permanent tinnitus.
Right.
That wasn't our response at all.
No.
Our response was, they're gonna
Deviant
screw you over
government.
somehow. Freaking get you.
Deviant government, man.
There's a part of the article that does say the exact amount of money that each of the plaintiffs will receive depends on how many decide to participate in the agreement. Anyone who has already filed a claim is eligible for the settlement, according to the settlement agreement. Others who believe they have a claim need to file their new claims promptly. So,
see, that makes it sound like you get the settlement and you can do a claim, maybe for long-term hearing.
No, I think the settlement only goes to people who have filed a claim.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's saying if you haven't filed a claim yet, you're about to be shit out of luck because.
But I was getting hit up with those advertisements on like freaking YouTube and Facebook and all that. They're like, oh, 3M settlement, make sure to file a claim.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much are those lawyers making on this stuff too, man?
Yeah, good point.
A buttload, man.
I mean, they put in a ton of time. I don't doubt it, but like if they're eligible to pay for those or able to pay for those advertisements on all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's a buttload.
They're not losing
constant
money.
Advertisements.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I guarantee the lawyers are the only ones making out like bandits.
Oh,
The
sure.
lawyers.
And
That's probably true.
$15,000 to a guy with tinnitus.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
So, but the other thought that came to my head was, do you think any veteran ever thought that once they were done with their, and they were out of the military, their post-military life would be spent filling claims against companies or filing claims against companies and the government?
No.
I mean, my God, that's all it is, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you were on
It's a
Camp
full-time
Lejeune.
job.
Did you file a claim?
Did you drink the water?
You were in Hawaii.
There's some of those guys that freaking they don't get another job intentionally because they're trying to get 100%.
Well, sure. Yeah.
And they just full-time job is just boom, boom, boom until they get to 100%. And then they're like, all right.
Right.
Did you mess with that firefighting phone?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen dozens of kids playing around in that firefighting foam.
Did they
at a family day?
File a claim.
That's what a whole life is, file a claim.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go into a bunch of Marine stories. Now, just real quick, I ran across this Marine story right before we went on here. And I didn't even send it to you. So I'm going to share the screen on this. They had a Marine who went through boot. At 4 feet 7 inches tall.
He looks like he's 8 years old, man.
Whoa.
But he made it through boot camp, man.
He had to get away, man.
Private
get a
first
waiver
class
for sure.
Nathaniel Laprade made it through boot camp at 4 feet 7 inches tall. I don't know what else to say to that. To be honest.
That uniform had to be severely teared.
Oh yeah. the Korean tailor shops were loving it when he was coming in.
Yeah.
Did
they
it say
are.
how old he was? Because he does not look old enough, regardless of his height.
Yeah, he's old enough. I don't know why he's so short. I was scouring the articles like, why is he so short? Why is he so short?
That's
It's just like,
crazy.
hey, some guys are short, but you would have thought he would be like Filipino or something. I mean, but
He made a
looks-
great guide on because I always put the short motherfuckers as the guide on.
Yeah,
Guide on!
get him there.
Humping the cans.
Yeah, but I mean that uniform is just hanging off.
Yeah.
What's he got, Eric? Short, or extra small? What is it?
That's got to be small.
Yeah, no kidding. But he did it. He got through boot. Look at him. All the rest of them are on their knees. He's standing up, and he's only about 6 inches taller than all.
They're playing that up.
But they said a couple of the guys were looking at him and kind of getting inspiration out of it. This short guy's hanging. He's doing all the stuff. He's doing the shoulder carry, right? He's doing the
embracing the suck. I can embrace it with him.
I mean, 4'7". How much could he weigh? Maybe 100
Friggin' 80,
and
87.
and he's carrying a 170, 160 pound guy.
Yeah, because he ain't got no weight on him either.
No, not at all. So anyway, I saw that right before we came on here. So good on to you, PFC Nathaniel Laprade.
Wow.
4'7" graduate of Marine boot camp.
He looks like my grandson, man.
And
He's
it wasn't
8 years
Hollywood.
old.
He wasn't a Hollywood Marine. He was a Paris Island Marine. So
that's where you need to go to be a Marine, man.
Yeah, that's what the Marines say. Except the ones who went to Hollywood. They don't say that. Okay. Now, have you guys ever heard?
Wait, there was that. We had that discussion of that short green beret.
There was an army guy that article talked about that. There was an army guy who was special forces. He was 4'9".
Oh, 4'9".
Because this guy brought it up and
4'7".
Oh yeah, the guy was a Green Beret
Less
at
than
4'9".
100 pounds.
I'm 4'7", and I made it through boot camp, so I got him beat on 2 ways. And I was like, take it easy.
Ooh, but that guy was a
there,
Green
Marine.
Beret, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, no, you just made it through boot.
He's done a little more suffering than you have, pal.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's a Vietnam era Marine.
Right, he was. Or,
like, okay, let's
Beret.
calm it down a little bit. Yeah, Green Beret.
So staying with the Marines.
We will call him a devil dog. He's a little bulldog.
The English bulldog.
Just like Little Willie.
Little Willie.
Willie.
So
the tank that could.
Have you ever heard the Marines being talked about saying that they eat crayons? I have never heard that.
100%.
Apparently, that's a pretty popular
really
thing.
No, they're all crayon eaters.
No, I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
It's basically making fun of their intellectual ability.
Intellectual, and that they're uncouth and they'll eat anything. Right.
Oh yeah. Or they'll just freaking they're savages.
So well, there's some companies that have tried to capitalize on this, right? Or not tried to capitalize, but they've used it. This story is from Marine Corps Times. So there is now a craft crayon beer. Let me
just
exclusively sold on Okinawa. Guaranteed to improve your scaling abilities.
Your literacy and dietary choices.
Just take it out of the Marine's hand who's passed out on your balcony.
Oh,
there it is. So
drinking crayon, that's awesome.
That's Marine Corps Times. So they know the stereotype.
Let's see. New Jersey's Icarus Brewing put out a Northeast Imperial India Pale Ale called Drinking Crayons. The label is written in child handwriting with dripping and melting red crayons, and it clocks in at an impressive 7.9% alcohol.
That's exactly what they need.
Yeah. A 12-pack of the more low-key Shrinking Crayons is a 4.8% beer, and a 12-pack retails for $25. That's about right.
Marine, you will not partake of the beer drinking can with crayons.
So,
man,
its official description is it's brewed with, there's a whole lot of stuff I don't know in here. So, but I do have brewing friends, so maybe they'll know what I'm talking about. Brewed with domestic 2-row Scottish Golden Promise, wheat malt, oats, and dextrin malt, hopped with Columbus, Eldorado, Amarillo, and copiously dry hopped with lupulin Mosaic, lupulin Azaka, lupulin Amarillo, and Columbus.
The hell is that?
Bursting with juicy
hops.
tangerine, overripe mango, and sweet melon notes before landing on a lightly dank finish.
With chopped in green crayon.
None of that sounds very good, but
chopped in green candy crayon.
so they got people trying to make money off of it. Okay, I don't begrudge that.
Yep.
I like that. The second story I got on this is: have you ever heard of Terminal Lance? There's a guy who goes by an artist name of Terminal Lance. Wow.
No.
Terminal Lance is a comic strip and website created in 2010 by Maximilian Uriarte that satirizes United States Marine Corps life. Uriarte publishes the strip in the Marine Corps Times newspaper and on his own website, terminallance.com. So you can see it's like 2-panel skits and stuff of lousy Marine life. Well, Terminal Lance has come out with a coloring book.
Thus the crayons.
Oh my God.
Come out with a coloring book. So which is great. I think it's brilliant, to be honest with you. And you can order it off of Amazon.
Oh, look at that.
The book is called Coloring for Marines.
Color your picture, eat as a snack. Eat the crayon right there as a snack.
He said, I have a 2-year-old toddler and he really loves coloring books. He had some coloring books sitting around. I was flipping through them and thought to myself that this could be a really fun thing to do with my Terminal Lance character. With the quote, Marines eat crayons meme floating around, it seemed almost too perfect not to do. Coloring for Marines isn't just a coloring book. It comes complete with word searches, mazes, and other interactive pages like the ones Uriarte saw in his toddler's coloring books. The illustrations are all originals and can't be found anywhere else in the Terminal Lance world, but have the same biting Marine Corps humor fans have come to know and love. So I thought, is this just for a kid? And I was like, it's not for a kid, because if you scroll down and you see a sample of one of those pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some innuendos going on.
And the picture it's all blank like a coloring book. And it has the private from the Marines and a picture of a girl and a guy. And the words say, you're on deployment and your girlfriend just posted a photo of her story with Jody from work. Don't worry, they're just friends. And the Marine is looking all sad.
Yep.
So now, your drill instructor's using it for disciplinary action. Go into corner, stand in position of attention, and color.
And color, right.
Color. Show me a picture.
If it's like most military ops, you're waiting for an awful long time. You're waiting for the plane to get there. You're waiting to go.
No, yeah.
Pull out your coloring book.
Amazing.
Here's the other.
Hey!
This is a picture of a guy bent over, and you can see his ass, and the doc has a needle that says
a rectal thermometer.
Or is that what it is? Yeah. This Marine didn't hydrate. Now he's a heat casualty. So
I wonder what the Corps thinks about this little thing,
this is not a kid's coloring book,
good.
Man.
I need to order it for my friend Adam.
It's like $11 on Amazon.
The official position of the Corps.
I know, that's pretty cool. Lastly, he says, I want to do more fun and digestible book content like this, or maybe a volume 2 in the near future, as well as some other shorter comedic novels.
That's cool.
Until then, fans can keep themselves entertained with Coloring for Marines and its 32 pages of coloring and other activities.
That
So
makes
that's
me
pretty
feel
cool.
so proud. I'd be so proud.
I mean,
Yep.
you see, like, I know Army Times, I think Air Force Times reposted some of that. You know, they got military like cartoonists that do like little one panel
Oh yeah.
shots in the back, you know, and I think that's what Terminal Lance is. So
Hmm.
good on him for getting the idea. People will buy it just to have it as a gift.
Just to make fun of it.
Yeah, just to make fun of it. It's like,
Yeah.
and if he has more funny things like we just laughed about on 2 panels, be like,
Yeah.
that's worth your $11.
Yeah.
I literally put it on my wish list for later so I can buy it for my friend Adam.
Add to later.
Yep.
Oh.
All right, so
Guess what you're getting for Christmas, Adam?
It's a coloring book, my friend. And we're going to give you the big box of 64 crayons. So
Yeah.
you have every color.
All the flavors.
All
all-
the flavors.
don't eat them before you finish the book.
Yeah. Well, so show some self-restraint.
Okay, for the last round here, I bring you back to the Coast Guard. Right?
As usual, man.
I
The
know.
coasting strike
Coasties.
in.
I can only imagine, like, at the Coast Guard's Christmas party, they've got to have, like, okay, best rescue award. Who nominates the, you know, I got one, right? They got to have stories coming out of there.
Yeah,
You know what, right?
they take care of business, man.
Well, here's
Mhm.
one too. And this one is from Fox 35 Orlando. A Florida man tried to travel to London by crossing the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel.
Come on,
So-
man. You can't make this up.
I know. I think the easier thing to do is to watch the quick little news report on it, because it's better than what I could say. So stand by, share some. There we go.
35, a story about trying to walk on water in an unusual human-sized hamster wheel. Well, turns out he is at it again.
And he was reportedly stopped trying to make it to London. Fox 35's
I like it.
Riley Elias joining us
He's
live
at
in
it
studio.
again.
Riley, good morning to you.
Three
last
times
time
he's
he
tried.
made headlines, his vessel was in Central Florida.
Yes, he was. He didn't make it to London either. The most recent attempt was a little more than a week ago. So the Coast Guard says they had to rescue 44-year-old Reza Bellucci 70 miles off the coast of Tybee Island in Georgia. He was seen running in this hamster wheel contraption. This is certainly not the first time we've reported on him. In the summer of 2021, Bellucci was encountered by Flagler County deputies when that hamster wheel washed ashore a little further north in St. Augustine. Witnesses made a call about the vessel. At the time, he told deputies he was raising money for charity and he was making his way to New York.
I'm out here with a giant, I don't even know what to call this.
No sitting, just inside water,
You're just inside of it?
running.
So at the time the Coast Guard was contacted, Bellucci was not arrested. The Coast Guard saying he ignored an order outlining safety conditions that he had to meet, as well. A similar failed trip from South Florida in 2016 ended with a $10,000 civil penalty. His first recorded attempt was all the way back in 2014. So this has gone on for 9 years. I can tell you the Coast Guard is not laughing about this. They filed a criminal complaint against the unsafe voyage. According to that report, they said that he would take his own life if he was apprehended. They also said he had a bomb on board that was never found. Officials later admitted he did not have a bomb. He is now facing, as you could imagine, several federal charges this morning.
Genius. How
Well,
many crayons did he eat before he did
Here's the
that?
thing, though. Who cares? Let him go.
I that's what I thought too.
It's
But
a single person in a single craft. He's not killing anybody. He's not doing. Have at it, dude. We're not rescuing you.
so
You've received 2 warnings up to
Yeah.
now.
We're not coming for you.
Go. If this is the way you want to go, sink or swim, literally.
the video didn't do it justice, and they were saying on August 26th, U.S. Coast Guard stopped Bellucci after spotting him on his homemade vessel approximately 70 miles east of Tybee Island.
Damn,
He
so it
made
worked
it
a little
70
bit.
miles, right?
If not more.
It was then that he told officials he was headed to London, which is like another 4,000 miles.
That's a hell of a walk there, buddy.
Coast Guard deemed his hamster wheel was unsafe for the voyage and ordered him to get into their boat. Authorities said Bellucci said he was armed with a 12-inch knife and would attempt to kill himself if officers tried to remove him from the wheel. For days.
Once again, go ahead. Have fun.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
We tried. We're wasting lots of resources.
Yep.
You guys have a fun time.
For days, Coast Guard officers tried to get Bellucci into the boat, and I guess he's just paddling along. At one point, officials said
he's walking going like this.
Yeah, it's like with his finger up.
Yeah. He reaches it past, like just outside the floaties.
Hey, Skip, he's flipping us off again. God damn it.
What's your name? Skip. Fuck you, Skip.
Oh my
Why'd
God.
you give him my name, man?
Coast Guard said he displayed 2 knives and threatened to use a bomb to blow himself up along with the wheel. Officers believed his threat was valid because Bellucci was reportedly holding wires in his hand.
Genius.
He later told officers the bomb was not real. Just kidding, guys.
You got him. I got him.
This guy got any
Skip.
family?
Skip will
I don't
fall
know.
for anything.
But they encountered him on August 26th. On August 29th, officers were able to safely get Bellucci off the hamster wheel. He was brought to shore at the U.S. Coast Guard base in Miami Beach. And they alluded to this. The recent incident was not the first time he attempted to travel the ocean by running in what he calls his bubble. Back in 2014, he had to be rescued from a hydro bubble near St. Augustine. His second attempt was in 2016, where he had to be rescued from a hydropod off the coast of Jupiter, Florida. In the summer of 2021, Bellucci was encountered by Flagler County deputies when his hamster wheel washed ashore farther north in St. Augustine, Florida. At the time, he claimed he was raising money for charity.
Unbelievable. I'll give the guy, he's got spunk. He keeps trying.
Yeah.
Well, he's either got spunk or
how much was his fine though? You said like,
oh, I don't know. What did they say? $5,000 or something like that?
It was pretty hefty.
no, it was way higher than that.
It was 10 something.
Oh, is that what? Oh, I don't have it written down here, so the video must have said it. I don't know what they said.
Oh, damn it.
I'd go back and say it, but that's a lot. But this guy obviously has money. I mean, you're not doing that on a, living paycheck to paycheck. You're not out there unless you're just constantly going down to the docks and come running back with like 2 buoys, and I'm like, oh, I'm halfway.
Got him. I freaking got him.
It is crazy.
So, good luck. I wonder when his next attempt is going to be. But apparently, this guy is a marathon. But still, that's 4,000 miles or whatever it is. I don't know if it's 4,000 miles. How far is it to London to Florida to London?
By water?
Yeah, by water.
Longer than a day's walk.
400 miles, maybe?
Ooh.
I don't know. I got thrown off when I thought English Channel, and then I don't know. I got all confused. It's a long way.
Take the tram.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, take the boat.
But once again, like who? I don't know. Who cares?
I'm with you.
Like
it's almost
let him
like
go. Let him go.
The guy on the boat was like, God, I wish you hadn't seen this guy.
Dude, day 2, there was somebody on the boat and it's like, just tease the shit out of him, drag him off that boat. Let's go.
I mean,
is
he humping it on the wheel? He's
yeah, the whole time.
He's like, 2 wires, baby, 2 wires.
And then random one of these.
It's an obscene.
The whole time.
It's obscene, man.
As he's going, what, a quarter of a mile an hour?
There was some junior enlisted like, sir, I could solve this problem.
Had enough. Or better yet, give me a
3
safety
feet.
pin. I'm gonna pop that fucking hamster wheel.
And that captain's like,
sink.
you got us into this mess. If you had just said you didn't see him, we wouldn't be trailing him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Well, I
Yeah,
doubt
that's
that
awesome.
becomes the best rescue at their awards banquet for that one.
Oh, well, it's got to be in the running, though, right?
Does he
It's
get a
not the
punch
most
card or
adventurous.
something?
What's that?
Like how many? He's on rescue number 4 from the Coast Guard. Like he's got to get
That's
a
his
punch
fourth
card.
one. Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
fourth one.
Punch
Get a
card.
like fifth
We'll see
fifth
you next year.
rescue.
We'll see you
Fifth
next year.
rescue, you get a
You know-
freaking free like emergency blanket, those aluminum foil looking emergency blankets. Like, all right, here you go, Ross. Here's your emergency blanket.
You know, with those big cutters they got, why don't you just like throw a grappling hook on this thing? It's like, enough of this. Just tow his
Drag
ass
it
back
back.
into the shore.
Break it in, man.
He's tumbling as they're towing him back in. This will teach him.
Got him.
Oh, my
65
God.
miles to go, baby.
Hang on.
Yeah. Hey,
Well,
tell
look-
me when he pukes for the third time, then we'll slow down.
I just picture that because if any one of your kids or you had one of those hamsters in those balls and they go and you couldn't help but kick that ball across the floor a little bit just to see that hamster centripetal force it inside that ball, right?
Just a little kick.
Just a little bit, just faster than those little
Little dink.
quarter-inch legs can go. That's
Oh,
the same thing they should do to this dude. You know,
oh, gee.
I think that's rounds complete. What do you say,
Oh,
fellas?
man.
Yeah.
And on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And as always, make sure to download the next episode for more Service Headline News. Man, thanks for the week, and I'll see you next week.
Me and Little Willie are going for a ride.
I'm just happy you finally got off the hamster wheel. Marty and I are still on it.
We're still on it. That's right.
I look forward to it when you join me, man. Good stuff.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
So-